Conservative New Media viewers, JLin fans around the world, Charlotte Hornets fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Charlotte's 114-103 loss tonight to the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland, Ohio. With the defeat, Charlotte falls to 29-27 on the season, including a 10-18 record on the road. Let's talk about what was going on before the game quickly. The Hornets came into this contest winning 5 games straight and having won 7 of their last 8 games overall, and also having won 4 games straight on the road. They had beaten the Cavaliers the last time the two teams met, and this was the second straight game in which the starting 9, I guess I would put it, or the 9-man rotation of the Hornets was healthy. And as I mentioned before, I do think this is what's going to be the 9-man rotation, even when Spencer Hawes comes back from the back injury that he's dealing with right now. That doesn't mean Spencer's never going to play, the same way that it doesn't mean that Troy Daniels will never play. It's just Coach Clifford has said before he likes using a 9-man rotation, and I think he's got it right now, and I think it's going to work out pretty well, even though it didn't work out well tonight. This was also the second game for Courtney Lee since he's joined the team, and the Hornets came into this game 3-0 on their ongoing 6-game road trip. So, and also one more note, the most that Charlotte has been over 500 this season is 6 games. So they came in tonight being 3 games over 500. Earlier in the season, they had, very early in the season, they had a 14-8 record. So that represents as much as they've been over 500 so far this year. Finally, Linspired in California sent me a note about the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'm just going to say this because this relates to JLin. The Philadelphia 76ers apparently almost traded Ish Smith, who is the point guard that they acquired during this year, to the Atlanta Hawks for Dennis Schroeder. Apparently that didn't go through. However, it does give you insight into Philadelphia may still be looking for a point guard. And that relates to Jeremy because Jeremy's going to be a free agent at the end of this season. And Mike D'Antoni, who of course was Jeremy's coach in New York for a period of time, Mike D'Antoni is now an assistant coach with the Philadelphia 76ers. Ish Smith has played well this year. I think he's played pretty well. So you might feel like, well, they're already set at point guard. I know at least 1 or 2 of the players of the Sixers have already said that they hope the team brings Ish Smith back next year. However, if they were going to trade him away, well, maybe they're not sure if he's going to come back next year or not because his contract is up at the end of the season as well, just like Jeremy's is. So just something to think about if you're a JLin fan, and obviously we'll have to keep tabs on what will happen for Jeremy once the season concludes, but of course we're a long way away from that now. So that's the setup for this game. The reason why Charlotte lost this game was primarily because of the second quarter. And that's because in the second quarter, they were outscored 40-28 by the Cavaliers. That was the blowout session, basically. Every other quarter of this game was a margin of 1 point. Either Charlotte won it by 1 point or Cleveland won it by 1 point, except for the second quarter where you had the margin of 12 points. Also, Charlotte, just going by the scores, you can see 114 points given up. They didn't play good enough defense. Cavaliers shot 49.5% from the field, including 40.6% from three-point range. Now, I'm not really upset about this loss. I said that on Twitter during the game, and that's because I expected Cleveland to win this game. I follow Cleveland. I have full NBA League Pass. They're one of the teams I keep an eye on. They lost their last game to Detroit, and it looked like they just had no legs in that game, meaning they were tired from playing the night before. I figured, and they also lost that game at home. So I figured they were going to come into tonight, they were going to be very focused and put up a good offensive performance, and that's what happened tonight. And look, Cleveland's an extremely talented team. So is Charlotte, but Cleveland's more talented. Now, Charlotte didn't play that bad. They shot 49% from the field. On offense, they played pretty good. They just didn't play good enough defense. But again, you're not going to win all your games. You're certainly not going to win all your road games. And you're not going to win all your games against the elite teams in the league. And Cleveland is one of the 4 or 5 elite teams in the league. So I'm like I said, I'm really not. I'm not really disappointed by this. If the team can just kind of pick it up in the last 2 games of the road trip, this game just doesn't mean that much. However, at this period of time right now, there's other games going on right now as I speak that will affect the Eastern Conference. But right now, Charlotte is the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. So they fell from 7 to number 8, which is the final playoffs position. So they're kind of on the cusp, although I think they have a game or 2 up right now on the Detroit Pistons. So let's go over the statistics very quickly. LeBron James, 23.7 rebounds, 7 assists. Kyrie Irving, 23 points. And Channing Frye, who was a recent acquisition for the team, had 15 points and 6 rebounds. So he's definitely going to help Cleveland out quite a bit. For the Hornets, Kemba Walker, 20.6 assists. The problem for the Hornets in this game, more than anything else, was that they didn't get enough production from their starters. Basically, the starters didn't get enough done against Cleveland starters. The bench scoring was almost equal for both teams. They both scored in, I want to say, the high 30s, around 40 points for each side. The bench did a nice job tonight. And that included Frank Kaminsky, 16 points. Al Jefferson, who, of course, really isn't a bench player. He's a starter, but his leg is, they're kind of working him back up to starting right now because he's coming off of the knee surgery. 12.6 rebounds. JLin, 10 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists. Played 25 minutes, shot 4 of 9 from the field, including 1 of 2 from three-point range, 1 of 3 from the free throw line. No steals, no blocks, 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. Jeremy's plus-minus was a minus 16. Jeremy played a solid game tonight. His shooting was pretty good. I mean, 4 of 9 and 1 of 2 from 3. Those are good numbers. 4 assists to 2 turnovers, 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. That's solid. 2 turnovers in 25 minutes. Not bad. I didn't get to see all of this game, and that is because there was a bad thunderstorm where I live during the game, and I had to, it knocked my computer out for a little bit. And then when I restarted the computer, the internet, I have cable internet, was really slow, probably because of whatever the thunderstorm damage was or something. So I was kind of slow lag, and I missed some of the game, blah, blah, blah. So I can't tell you absolutely everything Jeremy did and did not do in this game. And I'll probably be relatively brief with this video because of that, and also because it's getting up a little bit late since I watched the ending of the Miami Heat versus Golden State Warriors game tonight, which the Warriors ended up winning by 6 points in what was a really terrific game. That game was in the 4th quarter when the Hornets game ended. So I just saw it was close, and I figured I'd watch that. However, look, this was it's a good outing for Jeremy. I mean, he really, his first 3, he absolutely drilled it. What Jeremy has got to do, and he knows this, and his team knows it, and everything is, he's got to find a repeatable shooting form. Because sometimes when Jeremy's shooting these 3-point shots, it's not the same shot over and over again. if you look at really good shooters, even when they miss, the form is just, it's almost identical every single time. And Jeremy doesn't have that. That means sometimes it's off this way and sometimes it's off that way and sometimes it's way off. I think we know he's still working on his form. And I think also there's differences between shooting when you're on the dribble, shooting when you have your legs set and you do not dribble or hop into the shot. So he just needs to find what works for him most comfortably. He actually seems to shoot better when he's coming off the dribble or when he's on the move. It seems like it's not quite as comfortable for him right now to shoot when he's standing still, like when he receives a pass and then just goes up to shoot like a three-point shot. We've talked about this. We've talked about Jeremy shooting in the past. Again, we know that the form's been an issue and that he's working on it. I'm sure it's going to improve. He looked good tonight. He was aggressive. And one thing I think that favored him in this game was some of the time he was on the court, he was going against Matthew Dellavedova. Matthew Dellavedova is a fantastic defender. However, Dellavedova is recently coming off of a hamstring injury. And I think that Dellavedova's legs aren't where he wants them to be. And it's making him slow. And so Jeremy was able to get by Matthew Dellavedova and get to the basket a number of different times in this game. And I thought it was really effective. He also had an extremely nice pass where he drove down into the lane, drew the defender away from Al Jefferson, and then basically wrapped the pass around the defender to Al. Al scored the layup and was fouled on the shot as well. So, look, Jeremy scored double figures. This is a solid game. I mean, the loss certainly isn't about him tonight, even though he did have the minus 16. The starters have to be able to get a little bit more done. Now, there is one other thing I definitely want to say and address for Jeremy Lin fans about this game. With about 8.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Cleveland was up by like 25 points. At that point in time, Steve Clifford made a decision that he was going to still try to compete in the game. In other words, he had to decide, well, is a game out of reach and I'm just going to put in the bench guys, or am I still going to try to do something here? He decided that he was going to try to do something. And the 5 people that he put on the floor were all the starters except Courtney Lee and Jeremy Lin. So this is the second straight game in which we've seen that alignment near the end of the game. Now, it might just have been that tonight it was Jeremy because they needed more offense. They were behind by a whole bunch of points, and Jeremy's a better offensive player than Courtney Lee is in terms of all-around player like passing and dribbling. I don't know. That's possible. However, if you're a Jeremy Lin fan, that's a good sign because it is starting to look like Coach Clifford is leaning towards Jeremy Lin being in the finishing group. And that's one of the questions that we've had once Courtney Lee joined the team. Who's going to start and who's going to finish? Is Jeremy Lin still going to finish the way that he did when P.J. Hairston was starting, or is Courtney Lee going to finish? Right now, it's looking like it might be Jeremy Lin finishing. Of course, it might depend on the matchup. Different things can affect it, certainly. I have nothing against Courtney Lee. This is just more of a focused information for Jeremy Lin fans. Courtney Lee seems like a great dude, and he's definitely going to help the team. He played a solid game himself tonight. He's going to help. And but obviously Jeremy Lin fans want Jeremy Lin to finish the game. So it is starting to look like that's how Coach Clifford is leaning. And I would imagine that he will change it on different times. Like there are going to be times when certain groups finish the game just because they're playing well at that period of time, rather than the set 5 finishing group. But that's an interesting development. It does look good for Jeremy. And like I said, look, I think Jeremy is having a terrific year this year. He's learning, he's growing, he's happy. He's with coaches that he respects and that he likes and that like him. He's had a down year shooting so far, particularly from 3-point range. Other than that, I mean, he's had a terrific year. So tonight was just another solid game in that progression. Now, if you getting 10 points on 9 shots is it's not great, but it's okay. I mean, obviously it would have been more points, but he missed a couple free throws. But he played a good game. There's nothing wrong with the way he played tonight. And look, I'm happy. And let's move on then to the next game. As we said before, there's 2 more games on this road trip. And they're both going to be tough, although hopefully they're not going to be as tough as tonight's game was against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The next game coming up then is in 2 days from today, Friday, February 26th here in the United States against the Indiana Pacers in Indianapolis, Indiana. 7 p.m. Eastern Time the game will take place. So that means the game will then be on Saturday, February 27th. At 8 a.m. in the morning in Taipei, Taiwan, and throughout China. Look, the team played Indiana like 4 games ago now, and they played them in Indiana. So it's not like they know they can go there and win, and actually they routed them. I'm looking at the score right now. Yeah, they won that game by 22 points. Of course, Indiana's going to be looking for payback in that game, and Indiana's a good team, and they are particularly good on defense. But like I said, I do like this group. I think tonight's a throwaway game. This doesn't mean anything to me, honestly, and I'm not surprised by the outcome. Now, as I mentioned, let's try to win these final 2 games of the road trip. If they can get these last 2 games, even if they can get one of them, and you go 4-2 on the road trip, that's pretty darn good. Particularly with all the transition that this team's going in through with losing Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, bringing in Courtney Lee, and the caliber of teams that they're playing. Playing Indiana twice, playing Cleveland, playing Atlanta. Those are good teams. So certainly tonight does nothing for me in terms of dampening my enthusiasm in terms of what the Hornets are doing, in terms of they're on the upswing right now. And just being enthusiastic about the lineup now. I do think this 9-man lineup is really going to get some things done for the team, and I'm excited to see them play more together and just be able to have more time to kind of develop chemistry and work well together. So, okay, that is about it. As I said, I'm going to keep it relatively brief. Won't do quarter by quarter tonight. And so we'll just go from there and tell you a thumbs up and thumbs down, or thumbs down. Your comments below. Thank you to Gary Chen of the Jeremy Lin Garden fan group for the artwork you're looking at right now. You can learn more about Gary and Jeremy Lin Garden from the information in the video description below the video player. There you will also find information for highlights of tonight's game. Finally, in the video description, you will see information how you can come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group and how you can come and follow us on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter as much as I used to be, but I still do tweet often during the games to let people know what's going on, because there's plenty of people who can't watch the game around the world when the game is taking place. And we also tweet out information about like practice interview videos with Jeremy and injury situations for the team and this type of thing. So once again, I am PFE Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. So yeah, tonight, tough loss, sure, no doubt about it, but not a big deal in the bigger picture. And I'm definitely looking forward to the next game. I want to see how the team responds to tonight. I think they'll be focused and ready to go against a team that they beat relatively recently. Another one, actually, because that was the same case tonight with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care, and we will talk to you again soon. And that means we will talk to you in less than 48 hours after the Charlotte Hornets take on the Indiana Pacers from Indianapolis, Indiana, USA.